So we talked about blowouts and we talked about no hitters. Um, let's talk unwritten rules. There are some unwritten rules that are associated with each. Um,
Yeah.
and this is the thing that I think is funny is the rules are unwritten for a reason. Okay, let me just get this out of the way to start with.
Wait.
Be-
Are you on your soapbox?
I'm I'm just gonna say, just let me say it real quick. Okay.
Okay.
So anytime I hear of the unwritten rules of baseball, I think of Captain Barbosa from Pirates of the Caribbean. Only appropriate that I'm wearing my pirate baseball shirt tonight.
Yeah.
I think of when they say, "Stick to the code." The code be but guidelines.
That's right.
That's really what the unwritten rules are. It's guidelines to be playing with etiquette. I guess you could say playing politely and having good sportsmanship.
Yes.
Um, but that being said, all of those standards are also from the 19th century. Well, all of them, most of them, because that's where the unwritten rules come from.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is it started at the beginning of the game? Oh, we played gentlemanly. Yes, put your bow tie tight and see. Yes, you know,
Oh wow.
like that's
Yeah.
that.
Okay.
I always anytime I go into that voice, I channel my great grandpa, because
Yeah.
anytime he'd try to teach us something, he'd be like this, see, like, thanks, grandpa.
Well, he sounds like a terrific fella.
He's a stand-up
It's
guy.
a real swell guy, you'd say.
Yeah, it's a real swell guy. Yeah.
He's
See?
a real
But
swell
anyways,
guy.
so Brig, that's where the unwritten rules come from, and that's why I
I
feel like
know.
they've been challenged so much lately, because they've been in the game for over 150 years, whatever.
150 years, yeah, right.
And a lot of them are out of date. And part of the unwritten rules are why MLB is fighting an uphill battle to bring in a younger demographic.
Right.
I mean, am I wrong there?
I don't think you're wrong. I don't think you're wrong, said the man.
Are you fighting curmudgeonry there?
Yes.
I knew it.
I even have
I
my
could,
hands interlaced, my
feel
fingers
it coming
interlaced.
through my headphones as you're sitting there listening to me talk. It was just like poking me right in my ear. Curmudgeonry.
I just am so excited to talk about this.
But but so those are the things we're going to talk about. We just talked about where they came from. Let's talk about what are they? What are the unwritten rules? What are some of the unwritten rules?
All right.
So let's go ahead and get into some of these unwritten rules. Brig,
Now,
you mentioned one earlier. Sorry,
yeah,
go ahead.
so
Go ahead.
So
as you
no,
were.
that's not what I was going to say. I was going to segue into that. So this
Yeah.
weekend during Alec Mills' no-no, I had the
Mhm.
opportunity to talk about what a no-no means to a friend of mine and kind of explain, not just the technicalities of it, but the details, the nuances, if you will, right? And one of the things. So here's the situation. I'm watching the game. I have it on my phone. I'm holding it up. And I'm in my garage while my toddler plays in the street, because that's what kind of parent I am. Just leave me alone. And we're in a cul-de-sac. Okay, leave me alone. But she's in the street and we're running around, or she's running around. I'm sitting in my garage, and I'm watching the last 3 outs in the 9th inning. Right, so out 25 occurs, and I yell very loud, and another neighbor comes out of his garage too. And he said, "Are you okay, Brig?" I said, "Yes, I'm doing great, actually." He says, "Everything, what's going on?" And I said, "Look, history is being made in Chicago right now, but we are not going to talk about it." And he said he must have been able to hear the game audio because it was quite loud. And I said, because he kind of he walked over a little bit, and I said, and he said, "Well, what's happening in Chicago?" I said, "We are not going to talk about it, but it's very exciting." And then he muffled something, I don't know, It may or may not have sounded like no-hitter. I don't know. Maybe. It was this jumbled mess of consonants and vowels. Just kind of, he turned. I wasn't actually paying attention. Who knows what he said? I'm not going to acknowledge it. But he said, he walked away and said, "Oh, okay." He turned around, and he gets it.
Yeah.
He gets it. So then I'm screaming, and everyone knows I'm fine, and we don't talk about it. So that's So one of the things that, in case you didn't know, one of the unwritten rules is that you do not talk about a no-hitter. And this is something I alluded to earlier when I said I get the notification on my phone from MLB.com, and it says there's a no-hit bid through 6 in Chicago or in Milwaukee right now for Cubs
Wrigley
pitcher
North, as
Alec
they like
Mills.
to call it.
And I'm like, what the freak, man? We're not supposed to talk about it. How did I just get a notification? You guys are MLB.com. Pull your head out.
So now here's my thing with not talking to a pitcher during a no-hitter. Like, I understand why. You don't want it to get it in his head, right? Because he starts pressing, he probably won't make his pitches. I get it.
Right.
I get it. But my question to you is this more of an unwritten rule or is it more of a superstition?
Well, so it's interesting. We didn't get into the divergent mentalities because you're right. It originated as you do not talk to the pitcher during a no-hitter. But
like
it
not
has
at all.
morphed.
He
It has
quarantines himself to the
morphed
end of the
into
dugout.
not. Yeah, now you don't talk about it.
Yeah.
Nobody.
And so I feel like in the dugout it's an unwritten rule because it's like, dude, you don't say it. You don't want it floating in the ether because you don't want it to land in his ear.
That's right.
And I guess that's where it comes from with the fans too, because you don't want there to be in the stadium. You don't want there to be kind of like a low mumble of no hitter.
No.
No-hitter.
Yes, of course.
Nobody's gonna hit. You know, you don't want that flowing, like I said, through the ether because it might end up in his ear.
That's how I feel.
Even like you sitting at home, you're not gonna talk about it with your neighbors. Is that more of a superstition, or does that fit in with the unwritten rules?
And this is what we talked about with my friend. This is 100% superstitious, okay?
Yeah.
And we are a desperately superstitious people, baseball people. We just are. I'm not going to apologize for it. I just won't.
In fact, I think that's a whole nother episode, superstition.
Yeah, for sure. But you're right when it comes to drawing a line between the two. But I think you know the unwritten rule is that you don't talk about it in the dugout. You don't especially bring it up to the pitcher. But it's become a fan rule.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because I had a friend in high school through a perfect game. And,
wow.
And it was while I was injured. So I was keeping book, and I came to the realization I want to say it was like in the 5th inning or the beginning of the 6th that I was like, Soch has a perfecto going. And I kind of looked at the guy next to me, and he goes, "Don't say a word." It's like, all right.
Yeah.
We got it. And he went on. He finished it. He finished the perfect game. He did it. And I'll tell you this. He's the one guy I caught in my entire life who had big league stuff at 15, and he ended up tearing his rotator cuff and couldn't pitch anymore.
Man.
But that's a whole different thing. But anyways, yeah. So I get it. I get, like, in the dugout, you don't say anything. You don't even get it out there because you don't want the pitcher to get in his own head because that can happen, especially with pitchers.
Well, and he's already there. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So if you read David Cohn's autobiography, Full Count, you'll get a really good insight into what it's like to be a pitcher in a no-hitter and a perfect game scenario. And the way he translates that experience and gives it to us is gold. Mm-hmm. It really is super, super well written.
There's a lot of stuff about that book that's well written, but especially that chapter about the perfect game was fantastic.
Well, the whole thing is framed in that. Yeah, he starts the narrative, and then he works into it, and then he gets in. Oh, it's just terrific. But so yes, there are more rules surrounding a no hitter that we should talk about. One of them is you do not bunt to break up a no hitter. That's a violation of the unwritten rules.
Mm-hmm. And for me,
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I
No.
was just gonna say about the bunting. So I don't feel like if you are if you're a guy who doesn't typically bunt, okay, I get it. Especially if the shift is on, because guys aren't, because you're not normally gonna bunt to beat the shift anyway. So I don't think that guy should be doing that. Okay, it's kind of a cheap move, especially against the shift. Like, to me, it's like, okay, that's pretty messed up. But a guy like, if you've got like D Gordon or Billy Hamilton up to bat, and everybody's playing straight up, and you've got 1 or 2 outs in the 9th inning, and you're about to get no hit, like, those guys can absolutely lay down a bunt because that's something they would do normally.
Kyle Schwarber's one of the best in the business,
which is strange to me.
It is. It is. I'm not arguing with you there, but I just want to add that, keeping it in Chicago for today, that is absolutely true. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I feel like that's the way that is. Like, not everybody. Like, if you want to lay down a bunt because that's what you do, that's fine. Go ahead and do it. But don't, like, beat the shift when the guy's got 2 outs into the 9th inning, because that's bush league. That is to me. But
I don't disagree with you, but I bristle against the idea of being competitive. Right? Like, do what it takes to win.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, and that's my thing too.
Yeah.
Is that, like, it might be bush league, but at the same time, like, and that's the thing too, is if it's a close game, if it's a 2-0 game and a no hitter,
that's where I draw the line. Yep.
Then go ahead, do what you got to do, because
if you're within 2 or 3 runs and you can start a rally on a beating the shift bunt up the left field, or up the left field line.
Yeah.
Friggin' run it out, man. Drop a bunt, lay it down,
get a double.
You get a double out of it. Yeah, you don't know. That's exactly how I feel. If you're within 2 or 3 runs, I don't care how many outs the other team has. I don't care who the pitcher is. It could be a no-no. Doesn't matter to me. Like, be competitive.
And part of throwing a no-no is getting the tough outs. It's not just the pitcher; it's the defense.
Right. That's right.
It's getting
and that's
the
what
tough outs.
That's what my friend and I talked about this weekend. We were talking about how these are tremendous team efforts. I mean, especially a perfect game, but a no-no as well. It is a huge team effort, and the pitcher can't do it alone. I think that King Felix is the last one to record a perfect game. It was in 2012, and I think he did so on the back of 9 strikeouts or something like that.
Yeah,
or 10.
Yeah, he struck out because he was striking guys out all the time back then. It was absurd. But
it wasn't 27 strikeouts. That's what I'm saying.
No,
we're talking. He got just under or about a third of the strikeouts, or of the outs were at the plate. The rest of them were in the field.
Yes, and that's to your point, exactly right. That it takes everybody. It takes everybody to be perfect. It takes everybody to get a no hitter.
That's why it's so special.
Yeah.
Now, Brad, we've talked about this before, and we'll move on after this, but what do you think about combined no-nos? Are you as excited about them or not?
No, not at all.
Me neither.
The Mariners threw one several years ago, and I was just kind of like, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Throw a complete game if you're going to get a no-no. All right. Now, all right. Do you swing on a 3-0 count? 3 balls, no strikes. Your team is way ahead. Do you swing on a 3-0 count?
Yes.
This is an unwritten rule that you don't.
Is.
That's the rule states that you don't.
Oh, that's true, right? The rule states that you don't. But do you, in my opinion? Yes. And we talked about this a little bit with Fernando Tatis last week.
Yes.
He hit a grand slam to go up by 10. You're already up 6, which, like we said, in today's Major League Baseball is not a huge lead.
6
is
big,
not, but it's not insurmountable.
It's not insurmountable.
It's not huge.
Yeah.
So not only did he swing on a 3-0 pitch up 6, he swung on a 3-0 pitch with the bases loaded. And I'm kind of like, that's fine. Like, if you're you're a major league pitcher, make a competitive pitch and get an out.
Right.
If you want to try to get him to chase something, that's fine, but don't just groove something 3-0. I think that's an absolutely absurd rule, that guys should be able to swing on any count whenever, because we played in a state tournament in high school where we blew everybody out. I think we ended up, our final margin in 5 games was 85 to 6.
Wow.
And it was insane. And our coach came and he told us, he's like, guys, don't swing until you have a strike, because we were hitting everything, and And I don't feel like that's an okay thing. I mean, at that level, yeah, because you got to show some more sportsmanship because kids have feelings. But at the major league level,
They
I
don't.
don't care about your feelings. Your bank account is your feelings, and you can go home and you can cry on $100 bills. So,
Wow. Ruthless
in
Blackjack Brad.
maybe it is the beard.
Mhm.
I don't know, but no, I don't feel like at the major league level you're a professional. Play professionally, get an out. I don't care what the count is. I don't care what the score is. You've got to get 27 outs to get out of the game, and nobody should be going easy on you because you're
I
a
agree.
grown man.
Yep. I absolutely agree with that, actually.
So
I'm going to skip the looking at a home run one. I feel like we beat
yeah,
that to a pulp. We talk about
hmm
that all the time.
yeah,
The rule is that you don't stand in the box and wait for your home run to clear the fence. That's the idea.
yeah.
This I agree. Don't do it. You want to play baseball like a baby back, you know what? Then you can stand in the box, and then you get thrown a baseball at your head. And we're going to talk about that later. But do you, the next rule, let's talk about this. Do not steal bases if your team is ahead by a significant amount. Think of all the squishy language in that one.
And that's what you talk about being competitive. Be
Yes.
competitive from start to finish. You don't go out there and say, "Oh, we're up 6. I'm not going to run." I mean, especially with nowadays when guys have enough incentives built into their contracts. I mean, I watched the Mariners a couple weeks ago. They were still in bases up. Let's see, up 4 runs in the
4.
top of the ninth inning,
Yeah.
and then they ended up losing in a walk off because
Yeah.
the Padres came back and scored 7 runs
Of course they did.
in 1 inning. So play to win the game, in the words of Herm Edwards.
Right. Until it's
If that
over.
means stealing bases, yeah. If that means stealing bases, go steal bases.
Right. Swing at a 3-0 pitch. What do you care?
Yeah, exactly.
You don't care
right.
about their kids. Right? Like, come on. You're
That's
there to
right.
win baseball games.
Yeah, that's right. You don't
All
care
right.
about their kids.
Yeah. Now, all right. Last one, and then we'll take a break.
Okay.
If the pitcher gives up back-to-back homers, 2 batters come up, both of them launch them out. They dropping bombs on this dude. Are you allowed to swing at the first pitch of the next at bat, that third, the subsequent batter? Now, the unwritten rule is that you are not allowed to do that.
Right.
How do you feel about this, Brad?
It's the same thing with the 3-0. Don't go in there and just groove a pitch because you don't think the guy's going to swing. Go out there and make competitive pitches.
Yep.
And especially
I
if
agree
you're
with
out there
that.
grooving pitches, at what point do you just at what point are you giving up as a pitcher?
Well, and what are you allowing to influence your decision to give up?
Mm-hmm.
See, because to me, this is all about the mental game. This is all about who's tough, who's not, who can hang, who can't. This is resilience in the moment. This is all kinds of things. And really, if I'm letting you throw the first pitch for a grooved strike, right down the pipe, no juice, no nothing, it's like, come on, man, I'm going to drill that, right?
Oh, definitely. Because
I'm not
how
doing
many of
you
those
any
in your
favors.
life are you even going to get? Hitting is hard enough as it is.
Yeah.
Don't let the good pitches go by. And I don't
Agreed.
feel like you can in any situation, especially if the 2 guys in front of you hit home runs, go up there and hit a home run on the first pitch. Who cares?
Yep.
Because
I actually go ahead.
Go ahead.
Ha,
Okay.
Jinx, you owe me a candy bar.
The last thing I want to say about this, if I have a pitcher who is not mentally strong enough, like you said, to work through giving up back-to-back home runs, in the words of my high school baseball coach, he's not that damn good anyway. I don't need him.
Yep. Yep,
So
that's very good.
That's my opinion on that.
All right, baseball family, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we're going to get into more of these, and we have more to say. And I bet you didn't see that coming. All right, baseball family, welcome back. We're going to talk more unwritten rules of the game. Obviously, we don't have time to get into every one of them, so we're going to cherry pick a couple of these and move through them that way. Some of them are ridiculous, as I think, have clearly stated, but perhaps we should take some time and talk about some that are less ridiculous. Brad? What do you think?
Well, this one that I kind of get this one, but at the same time it is a little bit ridiculous. A pitcher who's removed from the game in the middle of an inning must stay in the dugout until the end of the inning. It's like,
Yeah, that's a good example.
yeah, like you're in. It shows that you're in with the team, right?
Okay.
But
Yeah.
I can also see you've been out in the dugout or out in the bullpen for a while. You might have to go to the bathroom. I mean, we had an incident this weekend, right? So, like, if you gotta go, you gotta go. That's cool. But come back, hang out with the team. Doesn't matter if you just got rocked for 7, 8 runs, whatever. You know, go sit in the dugout, eat some seeds,
Yeah.
drink some Gatorade, and then when it's
Mhm.
over,
Pull a
you can go ahead
prank
and
on
go shower.
somebody. Yeah.
Yeah,
that's
put
right.
some
That's
bubble
what
gum
I
on a
say.
hat, whatever. Just
Yeah, that's
you
perfect.
can unwind in the dugout. You don't have to go unwind in the clubhouse.
Yeah.
There's plenty.
Well,
to
and you
do
should
in the dugout,
unwind with your
trust me.
people.
Yes. You
Yeah.
really should.
Yeah. So what about a pitcher not indicating that they are displeased or at all discouraged by the play or lack thereof of one of their fielders?
Okay, so the way I look at this is an error. Should not
right.
indicate displeasure with an error because errors
Right. That is
happen.
the
Errors
official
happen.
rule.
To me, like if an error happens, like it's just the nature of the game. You've got uneven ground. Sometimes you got even a pebble. You know, like we saw a ball hit off third base the other day, and the Marlins third baseman made a great play on it. You know, granted
Right.
that wouldn't have been an error, but just like just you pick each other up in baseball. You don't put each other down. It's a hard enough game as it is that if something like that happens, you shouldn't be like, golly. You know, don't make any faces. Nothing. You can make faces on a bad hop because
Yeah.
that's out of their control. You know,
Sure.
just like, man,
Like,
but
dang.
but
Yeah.
don't get down on guys. Defense is hard enough to play as it is. Don't make it any harder because if they get in their own head, same thing with pitching. If fielders get in their own head, we saw with Chuck Knobloch, a great second baseman, got the yips,
Yeah.
couldn't throw the ball to first base anymore.
Yeah. No, it's true.
So
All right, so let's swing all the way over to the other side. Let's talk about stuff that I think makes a little bit more sense. How about not rubbing the part of your body that was hit by a pitch?
okay, tell me about that.
So, I mean, this just comes down to machismo, honestly, and toughness.
That's really what it is.
It's-
And my thing is like, it hurts. Rub it, man.
You think so? See, no,
Yeah,
I'm like, no, you can't have the satisfaction.
Yeah, no, it hurts. Like, rub it. I
Yeah.
don't care. Make it feel like if you need a little bit of ice, man, do it. Like you need that magic spray. Yeah, do what you got to. It hurts to get hit
No,
with a
man,
baseball.
no, I totally disagree with you. Okay, there's nothing more exciting than watching a dude get drilled in the small of the back and him turning around cold as ice and staring that pitcher in the face, and not one iota of pain is on his
Okay.
face. There's
No,
nothing
I'll-
better.
I'll give you this.
We're talking 100,000 people between the attended fans and the people on TV go, oh, and then he just turns slow and cold. There is nothing better than that.
Okay, let me give you this. I will say this: out of anywhere on my body, I would much rather get hit in the back because I'm not going to rub it because I can't reach it. But second, like it's easiest to take a ball in the back. Okay, like
Okay.
don't rub the back, but you get hit in the butt or the leg.
Yeah.
Like,
right.
give it a little bit of rub. Rub
No,
that
I
pain
disagree.
off a little bit.
That's
And especially you get hit in the hand or the wrist.
That's
Yeah.
different. The hand is different.
'Kay.
Sure.
There are
Yeah,
certain
but you get
places
hit in the
that
meat.
hurt way worse than others.
Yeah,
and I
of
think
course.
you have license to rub that. But the back,
Every-
stare him down,
Yes.
go walk down to first base, and then go steal second on him.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm the same way with anywhere where there's a bunch of meat. I'm talking you get hit in the butt, you get hit in the thigh.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's going to hurt like crazy.
Yeah, I mean, we've
We
seen
all know
pictures of
that.
it.
But it is your job to look unaffected. That is an unwritten rule I firmly believe in.
And I've just always thought it was funny because I remember getting hit. Don't rub it. I'm gonna rub it. It hurts. You go ahead and rub it too. I don't care.
Well, you could rub it when you get to first base, fool. Like,
Well, that's
your
when you
job
that's when you
is-
rub it.
No,
you take your base like
you-
a man, and then you go rub it when you get to first base. That's what
That's
I'm
what
saying.
I say. That's what
Okay.
I say, and
All
it's
right.
and it's all machismo and it's all BS and it's all bad for you, but it's still an unwritten rule, and I think it's one that makes perfect sense. You are representing the team, you are representing yourself, and you're not allowed to look like a baby back you know what at the box. You have got to stand there and deliver a cold, searing gaze back to the dude who may or may not have intentionally thrown that ball at you. And if they did intentionally throw it, let's get into the next unwritten rule. Are you well within your rights or not to start chirping on your way to first base, maybe throw something or charge? What do you think of that?
Okay, so if somebody throws at you intentionally, do not touch that spot where they hit you. Absolutely not. Okay, like I'm with you on that
Absolutely not.
Do
Yes.
not.
Unless
fact,
it's in the face.
You run down, in fact, you strut down to first base, maybe swell up and flex on them a little bit, and call them a couple names and tell them you bring that all day because it doesn't even hurt. Nice change up,
That's right.
sucker. Like that's
peacock.
Yeah, I totally agree with you on that. Absolutely, definitely.
Yep.
Yeah, you peacock all the way down and tell them nice change up, nice curveball, whatever, when you know they brought the heat because nothing pitchers hate more than that.
That's right. Exactly right. You telling me my 95 mile an hour looked like a changeup?
Yeah.
Well, now they're in their head. See, that's where this. Yep. See, the cool thing about a lot of these unwritten rules, some of them are complete BS. Mm-hmm. Some of them are like, let's be nice to each other. And I'm like, come on, man, stop.
Yeah.
Like this is a ruthless, cutthroat game, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't perform, the other guy will, and you'll get DFA'd.
Exactly.
So, it is you have to perform, period, end of story. But some of these rules are about reputation and team morale and all this other stuff that goes into the subtext, the nuances of the game that I think are undeniable, that you can't if we ever get away from them, we're going to be in trouble.
And see, I feel like some of them can be challenged. We can get away with some of them. Like I've talked, like you said, we talked endlessly about watching a home run. Fine. It's
sure.
I feel like it adds entertainment value. Go for it, absolutely.
Yeah. Right. But
and
I just want to punch you in the face.
I know. But luckily for me,
not you.
Oh,
I mean,
okay.
I'm talking about the guy in the box. I want to take Yasiel Puig and hit him with my keyboard. That's all.
That's true.
Like lick your bat. True. How does it taste? How does the V key taste? I'm gonna smack him. That's all.
But some of the things that we've seen this year, we talked about. We talked about the game policing itself. We had some issues with the Astros, both pitching and hitting. We had we talked about Free Joe Kelly, and him throwing behind Bregman and Correa and chirping at him a little bit. But then you had some Astros throwing at Ramon Laureano. Is that who that was?
Yeah, I think that is who it was.
Yeah, and they threw at him, and he was barking a little bit, chirping a little bit at those guys, and then there ended up being a little bit of a scuffle. Not much more than that. I wouldn't even say a brouhaha or a
It didn't go to fisticuffs.
No, it did not.
Wasn't a Donnybrook in the infield for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But so I ask you, Brig, which one of those was more on the right? Was Kelly more on the right throwing at the Astros? I mean, I guess this is a dumb question because we know why Kelly did it. The reason the Astros were throwing at Laureano was because he's hitting home runs. Is it okay to throw at a guy if he roughs you up for 4 home runs in a 3-game series? Like,
no.
Do you feel like that's okay?
No.
And I don't either.
Be better.
Yeah, exactly. Be better. Be mentally tougher and throw better pitches. And it goes back to that not swinging at the first pitch after the pitcher just giving up back to back.
That's right.
It's like that's on the pitcher.
Now, hold on. The value has changed though, because 30 years ago, this was 35 even. This was way different. You crushed it even one time against Nolan Ryan, and he was going to put you right back in your diaper.
Same thing with Bob Gibson.
Bob Gibson's a great example.
If you hit a home run off of him, you knew you were getting hit or thrown at the next time you got up there.
One time. You get one time, and then he is going to put the pants back on in that relationship, and he is going to make sure that you are crying for mama.
Yeah, exactly.
I will tell you that level of ruthless policing itself, sort of Wild West baseball, I love it. I am drawn in some misplaced or some misguided, ill-placed, macho sort of just gritty, like, I don't know, old school, like toxic masculinity or something, but it strokes that part of me that I can't get very often.
And see, for me, what it is, it's pouting. It's
Of
pouting.
course it is. That's why it's
Striking
toxic
out-
masculinity.
Striking
Yes.
out is just as much as part of the game as hitting a home run.
Agreed.
There's no reason you should be throwing at a guy because he succeeded against you. He's going to
listen.
fail against you 9 out of 10 times he sees you, especially if your name is Nolan Ryan or Bob Gibson. Let him succeed
Yes.
against you one time. He's not going to do it again.
Yeah, but listen.
He doesn't have you figured out. Nobody has you figured out.
Right. But nobody has them figured out because they will throw at your face. And that's part of the dynamic. Now, listen, here's the problem. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying I agree with it. I'm just saying that it does add a dynamic you can't get anywhere else. It is a hunter-gatherer sort of hyper-vigilant, I'm in charge mentality that we are losing in baseball. Is it right that we're getting away from that? Absolutely it is. But we have to acknowledge the past as the past. We have to put those values and those systems in place because that's what it was. And back then, not only was it wildly acceptable, but it was also completely the norm.
Right. And back then, I mean, it's like what people talk about the NBA now. They're like, oh, guys who played in the 80s, I love the 80s because it was like, clotheslining guys and hard fouls. You couldn't get to the hoop, and now just you can't touch anybody. And it's like, okay, but those were the rules then. These are the rules now. Basketball is far more entertaining, and the ratings are better now than they were then. With baseball, you risk losing your stars. I mean, think about how much Mike Trout would have gotten thrown at.
A ton.
And not because of launch angle. He's not hitting home runs like these other guys do. He has a natural home run swing, and he is incredibly strong. He's going to hit a lot of home runs, whether it's the launch angle era or it's the 70s when guys are going to throw at him. He'd be getting thrown at every other game.
He would. I agree with you. I'm just saying that was a dynamic of the game back then that we don't have today.
Right. Yeah, and I still just can't comprehend it. I don't understand it.
I do. I do understand it. I'm not advocating for it. I'm not saying it's right. I'm just saying I get it. It's not hard for me in my mind to say Nolan Ryan feels like he is on top of the world on that 18 inches of mound. Okay.
Right.
And he feels like he is absolutely not only in charge in the moment, present-minded, but entitled to being in charge. Where his role is to dictate not only the pace but also the execution of play, and he is going to do everything in his power to single-handedly affect the outcome of the game. Now, if he throws on you, and let's say something doesn't break and it hangs, which happened occasionally, and some guy goes yard on him, then he will do everything in his power to make sure that he is back in the driver's seat dictating the game because he genuinely feels he is entitled to managing the entire pace of play. He feels like not only is he entitled to it, but it is his sole duty and responsibility. And that's part of that mentality is what made him so effective and why every time we talk about the greatest pitchers of all time, he's at the top of the list.
Okay, now I got one for you.
Okay.
So last Wednesday, this is what started this whole string of blowouts.
Yes.
We had the Braves and the Marlins. The Braves beat the Marlins 29-9. We had in the bottom of the seventh inning, the Braves were up 25-9.
Yes, they were.
Lowered the bases, and then you've got Adam Duvall gets up and hits a grand slam to put the Braves up 29-9. Do you throw, or do you find it acceptable to throw the next pitch at Ozzie Albies?
No.
Okay, because that's what would have happened before. Ozzie Albies would have taken it to the dome.
No, I don't think it would have.
I do. Up 25-9, and the dude hits a home run with the bases loaded, gets a grand slam. Ozzie Albies would have been down and out.
No, he wouldn't have. No. He would have been down and out the next time they came to play each other. The next time they saw each other,
no, Duvall would have been down. Duvall would have been down and out the next time they played each other.
That's exactly right.
But no, I think the very next pitch would have been headed at, no pun intended, Albie's head.
I like what you did there. No, I think it, and it depends on whether there was a pitching change between those two instances.
I don't think it
Those two
depends on a pitching
at-bats.
change either. I think no matter who's throwing the ball, if they bring a new pitcher in, the reliever they're handing the ball and it's like, you know what you need to do. Yep, I do. He's down.
Yeah,
And and the same
yeah,
pitcher I think he's like, well, that sucked. Boom.
yeah. But I'm telling you, look. So okay, so Nolan Ryan. Okay, he's a terrible example. Let's say somebody else gives up that many runs back then.
Okay.
Okay, somebody who's way less capable, and because Nolan Ryan would never have done that. But let's say they give up that many runs, they are packing it in and waiting for the next appearance, the next opportunity to face this team. They are not going to execute retribution then, and if they do, it will be seen as petty and disingenuous and whatever else. That's disingenuous is the wrong word, but you know what I mean? Like it will be seen as petty and small. But the next time they saw each other, everybody's on the docket. Everybody. And they know they're going to run through ejections like crazy. And everybody's okay with it.
Do you think Acuna is up to get plunked the next time then?
Everybody.
Because
35 years ago, 40 years ago, everybody.
I mean, that's the way it would work, is especially the leadoff guy. Especially a leadoff guy like Acuna,
Yeah,
you'd much
for
rather
sure.
hit him than have him swing his bat.
Oh,
So-
for sure.
So
Take your
I feel like-
base, but
yeah.
send a message at the same time. That's how it all was, old school. Yeah.
Yeah, but no, I feel like Albies is on his back though. The very next batter. That's how I
Yeah.
feel like it would have worked.
Okay.
And
35,
it's pretty
40 years
messed up.
ago, maybe
Yeah.
so.
yeah,
But I don't think so with that many runs on the board. I think they're packing it in and planning their revenge for later.
okay, all right. Well,
We'll
let
see.
us know what you think, baseball family. What do you think
Yeah.
about the unwritten rules? Do you think there's some that are outrageous? Do you think a lot of them make sense? Are there some that borderline on just superstition? I mean, let us know. Let us know if you think Ozzy Albies would have been on his back following the Adam Duvall home run. I don't know.
I don't know either. But check
Send
it
us a
out, baseball
message.
family. If you want to learn more about baseball's unwritten rules, I've got this book here called The Baseball Codes. It was written by, let's see, Jason Turbo and Michael Duca. It's a terrific read. It's kind of dense, I'll be completely honest with you, but it does get into the details. It does give you play-by-play scenarios to help kind of set up the situation so you understand what happens. And if you can read it in Vin Scully's voice in your mind, you'll probably be a lot better off. So that's what I did. I could hear especially during the play-by-play announcing that they try to break down in there. It gets a little lost in the sauce unless you're listening to Vin Scully in your brain. So,
Maybe he
that's how
should
I
be doing that as like a retirement job, reading audiobooks, because he could read the phone book and it would be entertaining.
Oh, for sure.
know.
He'd make you feel like you were sitting right there.
Let's reach out and pitch the
Yeah.
idea to him.
That's
All
a good
right.
idea. I love it.
Anyway,